If you are like so many small business owners and you feel like you can't step away from your laptop, your working nights and weekends, you are on client calls all of the time, and you love to be able to take more time away from work, but you're just not sure how to do it and it feels like a big lift, this episode is going to be for you. You are listening to the Profit and Prosper podcast, the podcast that empowers female entrepreneurs to make more money, become financially independent, and live prosperously. I'm your host, Sarah Young, a seven-figure agency owner and business and wealth coach who's worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs to create more profitable, sustainable businesses. In this episode, I am interviewing one of my clients, Christa Jones, who is the founder of Rose City Professional Organizing. She is a professional organizer up in Canada, and she has a team of 20. She gave us a peek behind the scenes of how she transitioned in really just a few months from personally taking all of the sales calls, from being bogged down in a lot of team and client management, to delegating most of the sales process, to taking more time away from work, to having more time for vacations, to prioritizing her own self-care. And while doing that, had more than four times the revenue coming in during her slow season compared to last year. Watching her go through this transition has been so fun to watch, and that's why I wanted to have her come on and just talk us through what it's like to go from feeling like you have to be the point of contact and the main person doing all the things all the time, to being busy all the time, to being able to step back and truly become the CEO of your business, and what that process was like for her. I do want to drop in a quick reminder that the High Profit Society is open for enrollment this week, and we'll be closing our doors next Monday. The High Profit Society is my brand new membership where we are building a community of women who are working towards financial health and financial freedom without having to work overtime hours anymore, without being overworked and underpaid, through profitable, sustainable business growth. So these same things that you're going to hear me talk through with Christa in this episode, these are the same things that you are going to get to learn and implement in your business in the High Profit Society. So go to the link in the show notes, get yourself in there. And in the month of May, we are going to be kicking off our first group challenge inside the society, where we are going to be implementing all of the pieces that you need in your business to build up to a consistent 5-figure baseline revenue. So go check out the link in the show notes. DM me on Instagram if you have any questions about if this is a great fit for you, and I cannot wait to see you inside. Christa, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, Sarah, I'm excited. I've been listening to your podcast for a long time, so it's neat to be on it.
Well, I'm excited that you're on it, and I feel like you're going to have some really good insights for people that you maybe don't even know yet that you're going to have. So give us the backstory of what you do and how you started your business and how you got it up to where it is today.
Sure, yeah. I'm a professional organizer and declutter coach in Alberta, Canada, and started the business in the summer of 2019 as a side hustle. And then COVID happened, and my part-time job laid me off. So the business originally started just because I wanted to do like coaching, but wasn't really sure what avenue to take, whether it was going to be homeschooling, coaching, business coaching. But my next door neighbor was unloading boxes from her car into her garage. And when I asked her why, her dad was actually ailing health. So they had to move him into long-term care and sell his condo. And I offered to help her go through the boxes to sort, categorize, take some things to him to see what he wanted to, give to certain people or donate. And she thought that was a great idea. So we didn't end up doing that till about a year later. All the stuff ended up in her basement, and I helped her go through it. But when I went that next weekend to tell my mom, like, this is something I talked to my neighbor about, she was like, you could totally help people with their clutter. And I went, oh yeah, I could be a clutter coach. So I Googled, and the Professional Organizers in Canada website came up, and I saw how much people were charging on their websites. And I was like, oh, I could totally do this. And there's very low overhead, business license and insurance, and let's go. So I created a Facebook page, put it out on a bunch of mommy groups, Facebook buy and sell groups and stuff. And I had a client within 5 minutes. She just messaged me. It's like, help me with my storage room. We want to list our house. It's a mess and I need to fix it. And so that weekend, like I literally binged some podcasts. I found like 4 or 5 episodes and figured out, okay, I could probably do this. Went to her place 4 hours later, loading my minivan full of donations and recycling. And she's like, I don't need a bigger house. I just need less stuff. So that's when I realized that this was going to change lives. And I called my mom. I'm like, you were right. This is going to help people make really important decisions. And the client that I had really told me that it was like a shock for her of how much had been in that little room and how quickly we were able to get through it. So yeah, that's how Rose City Organizing was born. And now I have 20 subcontractors that help me all across the province. I am blown away at how quickly this has grown, and it's helping so many people. And not only with on-site organizing, but I do a lot of speaking, workshops, presentations, and a lot of it is involving the mental health aspect of what we do. And now I am taking a certification course to help with the subconscious programming and beliefs and identities that people have and how that affects their external environment and the results and outcomes they have in their life. Because I've noticed that a lot in working with clients, that there is some serious, beliefs and, pre-programming from when they were young that we need to work through. And in order to, make lasting change, right? Not just temporary external change, but that internal long-lasting change is super important.
Yeah. Well, it's the same for clutter in your house, the way that you live your life and keep things clean, and the stories you tell about your dirty kitchen and socks on the floor and the
Yeah.
stuff, put in your closet, the same as it is in your business. So, yeah, I think it's really important to make the lasting change. I totally agree. And so I think that's awesome. And now you have 20 people who help you go and organize, and you have, what is it, like 3 locations?
Well, we have 3 bigger cities, so Edmonton, Calgary, and Fort McMurray, but Alberta is very spread out, and there's a lot of rural and smaller cities in between those areas, so we serve, I think it's probably about 20 towns, cities, communities, but we go everywhere. So
Yeah. What was it like? I mean, you started with COVID, right? And so what was it like to just grow from that, being you with a
mhm.
Facebook page pretty quickly to having 20 team members?
To be honest, the investment into a professional organizer mastermind group is what kind of catapulted me, because I was fine just doing it by myself as a side hustle, to be honest. The money was great going into a little, it's investment account because my other job paid the bills. But it was after the COVID shutdown and me losing my other job that I realized, oh crap, this company is now a company. It's not a side hustle. I have to do this full time. And so that's when actually I invested the 5 grand into this mastermind, and they coached me through raising my rates, pitching larger packages, getting Google ads set up and investing in that. And, they did kind of hint at like, you need to hire people to help you. Like you should have assistants. And I was like, ugh, I don't want to hire anybody. I'm going to do this all by myself for the rest of my life. Like I have had serious trust issues. And so I didn't want to risk my reputation or, the company, if somebody messed it up or didn't treat it the way that I treated it. But I had a couple ladies reach out to me and ask for business coaching advice for their own businesses. And then they ended up just wanting to work for me. So the business side of things is a lot more complicated than people realize. You love organizing, but then you have to organize the organizing business, and that's maybe not their strong suit. So that's what my subcontractors do. They just do what they love and that they're best at and can focus on, and then I can organize the
Yeah.
business. So, yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk about your sales process, because to me, like in
Mhm.
the last few months, like that has been one of the like bigger things that you've let go of. So as a little background, I'll tell you my background, my sort of outside view, right? Was you've got calls all over your calendar, nights, you have times open at nights, weekends. I mean, you're
Mhm.
homeschooling two boys, right?
Girl and a boy, yeah,
Okay.
11 and 12.
You're homeschooling your 2 kids, and, they're with you, your single mom life, right? Like,
Mhm.
they're home with you, homeschooling, you're giving up, like, nights and weekends, and I just remember being like, "You have to restructure your calendar. Like, you have to first fix them, like, take the meeting so it's not all over the place.
Yeah.
And then next step, not just shift the times, but also delegate the sales process. Because when we talk about the bottleneck, for you, that was a huge bottleneck. And I remember you finally did it. And this was one of the things I remember is you said on one of our calls, you said that your kids were like, "Oh my God, we can like hang out tonight. You're not going to take a call." And I was just like, "Oh,
Yeah.
my heart, like that's what it's about, right?"
Yeah.
So tell me about like, how do you go from using your words, like stressing about like not having all of that time open on your calendar and like taking calls nights and weekend every day, to delegating the whole process and being like, okay.
Yeah, I honestly, it comes down to that scarcity mindset. And you and I talked about this a lot where I felt like everything's gonna get pulled out from under me. And if I don't answer people right away, or I don't get them booked right away, like I could lose them. And that was just that scarcity of I don't have enough and I need it to jump on it and I need to get more. And if I don't, I could lose it or it'll all fall apart. And so when we started dealing with that mindset, it really helped me realize, it's okay if the client doesn't want to wait for us, then they're not the right client for us, and for me to be able to delegate the sales process, like you said, with the assessments, it was a really hard one to do because I've delegated so many other things in the last 4 years. When I met you and you were like, "Oh, you should just, what else do you need to delegate?" And I'm like, "Well, I could do the sales, but I don't want to because I like sales." And you're like, "Well, you can still do sales, but do you have to do all of them?" And I was like, "No." So it just worked out really well that one of my girls that worked on site wanted to transition to doing more admin work. And I asked her if she wanted to do that video assessment part. And, it was so easy to just set her up with the questions that I ask, have her shadow me on a couple of calls, and then she was off and running. And now she can do some of the evenings. She can do, she does a weekend day if she wants to. And it's just so nice for me to know if I have a full week that there's still space on her calendar for somebody to be able to book. And it makes me feel less stressed about losing out on potential projects because there's no room for an assessment. It just freed me up to do more things that I want to do, like spend time with my kids or work out in the morning or, take the evening off. I just feel like that mindset piece was critical piece because you can delegate stuff and still feel super anxious about it. But I feel relief and peace and like calm. It's very freeing.
Well, and I remember you were like, I think my goal is to delegate some of the sales work by 2025. I think
Yeah.
that's what you originally said. And I was like, okay, sure.
Let's speed that up a little. I know. It was funny. I think I started with you in November and I started delegating to her in February. And I went on a vacation 2 weeks ago with my partner for a week in Mexico, and she did 3 assessments while I was gone. And then I just reviewed the videos when I got back and sent the quotes on that Friday. And it made me realize like people just need, I don't know, they just need somebody. They don't necessarily need me to do the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it frees you up to do other things. Cause I remember you were like feeling just very tied to your laptop, right?
Mm,
Because you're like, I might need to book calls. People might want to talk to me. I think one of my first recommendations was like, let's pick one of the nights and just close it off, just test it and see
mm,
what happens. Worst case, if somebody can't find a time, they'll email you. Just see, like,
yeah.
test it and see what happens. And if it fails miserably, you can put it back.
And now I
Yeah.
only have one night open for myself personally, and I don't even usually need to do it because Kayla will do it. So we went from closing off one night to only having one night open,
Yeah.
and I don't even really do them, so it's
Yeah.
great.
And I think that one of the things, if I'm remembering, I think we also had to talk about like, okay, if you're not doing that, then what are you going to do with your time?
Mhm.
Sometimes I think, and I totally do this too, but we get so used to being busy all the time. And when you think about, okay, but so I'm not going to have a call on my calendar, then what am I going to do? Right. And then what you ended up doing was hang out with your kids
Yeah.
or whatever it is. And like, that's what you really want to be doing. Right. You don't
Mhm.
want to be on sales calls all the time. And so just starting to like drip it in, right? Like test the water and see how one night goes.
I just remember there being, like, a lot of resistance around it, and then all of a sudden, after a couple months, it was like, all of a sudden, you just were like, "Okay, I'm ready." But not just to, like, shift the calendar, but also to just delegate the whole process, and I was like, "Yes!"
Yeah, and you
Like
know what I think that was, like, I found a certification course, that does hypnotherapy, time techniques, tapping, and in NLP, and that was something that really lit me up, and I was like, "I really wanna take this course, I really wanna do this, but it's gonna take time and energy, and I wanna be able to give it my all." And client care and client assessments and stuff takes away from, that energy and that time, and so I think that was a big motivator in getting Kayla to help out because I had something else that I was, like, really lit up about, and I was like, "Okay, this is gonna be fun, and it's gonna help clients in my business in the long run." But, yeah, you when you have other things that you wanna put time and energy into, you do need to figure out, "Okay, what else can I source or delegate, or what do I need to let go of?" Um, and that's been huge for me. And then with my kids, just, yeah, being able to take pretty much the entire week, with them to just focus on them. It's been incredible.
yeah, and I think that there's a lot of identity work that has to come up, right? I mean, that goes right along with the mindset work, but, the identity of, "I'm busy," right?
Mm,
"I work hard." Those are, like, really deeply ingrained, and it's hard to make the shift away from, like, trying on a new identity of,
mhm,
"I'm a business owner, and I make good money, and I don't have to run myself into the ground," right? Like,
totally.
this is easy, and so it just takes time to shift all those things, but would you say that it has worked out? Does the sales process that you now have somebody in doing the piece of that with getting on the calls with the clients, doing the assessments, all of that, like, would you say it's working?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Every time I review an assessment that Kayla did, she spent 30 to 40 minutes on with the client, and I'm able to put it on double speed and just zoom through it in 5 minutes and then send the quick, email estimate and the client's booking, and it's just it's quick and easy, and I'm like, "Wow, that saved me so much time, and I can do it during my business day. I don't have to do it at night, and it's working really well. People are booking and paying, and I mean, have never met me. They've never talked to me, and that's a totally foreign concept to me. So I'm almost there to remove myself completely from that process because she soon will be able to do the estimates and quotes that way. So I'm excited for that because I cannot scale this company to what I want it to be if I have to be involved in every single frickin'
Absolutely
thing.
not. No. Well, so you're gonna soon, when she takes over the quote process and then you don't really go on site hardly at all, if
Mhm.
ever, anymore, and so you're gonna have clients who come in that you never personally talk to.
Yeah, it's
What's
weird.
that gonna be like?
Weird. It's gonna definitely take that shift of like, okay, I still am, a part of changing their life. I still am a part of making this difference. It just looks different. But everybody involved is enjoying their part in the process. And we are all a team in making this impact. And I was thinking about this morning, like, I'm changing the world. We are changing the world. And it's so cool to just involve other people in that process and give them a piece of that. So yeah, it's weird, but it's exciting.
It's definitely something that I hear a lot from people when they think about growing their business and bringing on more team members is, well, people are used to working with me, and I don't know how I'm gonna shift that. And then some people say even, I don't wanna shift, I like to do the work, which I know that you also
I said that at the
like.
beginning.
Yeah, but what do you think allowed you to get past that and say, I'm past, people wanting to work directly with me. It's okay for me to not be the one who does all of the work, and actually I enjoy these other things equally as much, if not
Mhm.
more.
I think a lot of it was your coaching. Like, I mean, starting with you in November was perfect timing because that's my slow season. Like, it goes really quiet until about April, May. And so, for us to be able to work through that every week and realize that you do it, so I can do it, like I always look at somebody and go, oh, if she can do it, then I can do it too. And so that was really inspirational, especially, when you bought the other business, the other firm, I was like, holy crap, like, yeah, she cannot be involved in every single little thing or know every single be in contact with every single client all the time. Like it's just not possible. And I look at my company now, since I started working with you, I added that other city, and it's a major city with a lot of people, and the team is large enough that, I mean, and great enough they can handle a lot of it themselves. So I'm like, I need to really act kind of like Sarah and to like allow other people to like take that responsibility and trust them to do a good job. And also too, with this low season, it really forced me to pay attention to my processes and what I was doing, because I'm not like busy, 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 right? So I could actually hone in on things that needed to be addressed before busy season comes again, and then it can run smoother. And so that was huge. And then also the course that I'm taking, like it's a lot of, subconscious work and really identity work. So that's been helping a lot for me, and recognizing that I love speaking, I love workshops, I love teaching, I love coaching, and I love this, hypnotherapy subconscious stuff. And I want to be able to do that. And I cannot do that if I'm in the nitty gritty of the organizing business. So it's neat to kind of have that thing running and then be able to have this other arm of the business that does need me, for now as a
Mhm.
major asset.
Yeah. My hot take, well, number one, thank you for saying that. You never said that to me. No, it's true. I think it's important to be around people who like our group where they're going through similar things as you and they
Mhm.
get you, because I don't know very many people in my real life who like really truly understand. Even business owner friends don't truly understand what it's like to
Yeah.
buy another firm, to have the team that I have and all of that. And so I think it's important to be around other people, and then also to be around other people who expand you, right? So I have my own coach who expands me. I try to be that person for other people. My hot take is whenever people tell me that they don't want to be pulled out of the day-to-day stuff, they don't want to be pulled out of the client work, most people who say that are only saying it because they don't know anything else.
Yeah.
And so, as an example for you, I love that you are out of this stuff and you are, number one, I know that you're really passionate about supporting your team. And so, the more work that you take yourself out of is the more work that they can do and the more families that you are impacting.
Yeah.
One, you also just did a pro bono organizing job that was aired on TV, and I know that you have plans to do more.
Mhm.
And so by you getting yourself out of the day-to-day, like, you also have the opportunity to have that impact on other people and still make money in your business.
Yeah.
You travel more than, like, just about anybody I know, which is amazing, right? And you're also a mom and you homeschool your kids, and so you can still have an impact, you can still be involved, and that doesn't even touch on the coaching stuff that you're doing, right? You can still be involved in doing the things that you really love. I think we just hold on to that identity of, I need to be doing the client work, because we just don't know that we can do anything else, and that's why I wanted to have you come on and talk about it, because I feel like you have, like, opened up to do so many things that are so amazing.
Thank you. And I think that's the beauty of evolution, right? I am such like a learner and a grower. I love to try new things, and I get kind of bored, let's be real, if like something is day old monotonous, right? And I think that's why this business has grown and evolved to what it is now, because of me being such like an expander. And I don't want to stifle that, because there's so many people that I can help with like my knowledge and my experience and my passion, that to just limit myself. It's not limiting myself to just being on site, but I can only work with 7 clients a week, right? Whereas if I do a course and I do workshops and I can help more than one person a day, right? And so I definitely see the value in being able to delegate people to do this one thing that they love and they really want to do, and then allows me to expand and reach more people.
That is actually a really good point, is that sometimes we see these tasks, like your assessment calls, for example, you don't necessarily love to do them, and so sometimes we feel bad
Mm.
for giving that work to other people, but I think we forget that the person you hired to do that, like, she loves doing that,
Yeah.
right? She would probably, I don't know her, I may be putting words in her mouth, but she probably doesn't wanna come and do what you do, right? Like, she loves doing that, and so we can't let that idea of, like, just because I don't love doing tax returns, for example, doesn't mean that I honestly don't know if anybody loves doing tax returns, let's be real. But, like, I have a tax team, right? And so, like, allowing them to do the work that I'm hiring them for, and, we pay people fairly and we
Yeah.
treat people well, and also allows us to go and do these other things.
So good. I love it. And that's the thing. I just had a conversation with one of my lead organizers, and she's like, I love this and I don't want to stop doing it. It's just I just put my everything into it. And I'm like, yeah, I know. That's why I'm giving you a raise because I love what you do for people and I want to keep you happy. And it's important to me that the team that I have loves what they do, and that translates into their communication with the client and the results and then the happiness of the client. So yeah, it's an incredible thing to have people that love doing something and you can pay them well, and then it frees you up to do stuff that you're like, oh, I want to do this now. I can because I have the time. Perfect.
Yeah. Can we say your win from March?
Oh shoot, yeah. So last year, my quarter, did I write it down? I honestly blew my mind. I did $7,000 in revenue last March, and I was ready to quit my business in April. I after the first quarter of last year, I was like, this is not feeding me. We are gonna close shop. We're done. And then this March, I remember telling you at the beginning of March, I was like, I'm so stressed. We're not busy enough. It's not making enough money. And you and the girls in the mastermind were trying to calm me down. It's okay. It's slow season. You're going to be fine. And then last week on the call, I told you I did 30,000 in March versus 7,000 last year in a slow season. And my quarter last year, I think we did 57% increase this year. So
Really slow season.
yeah,
After you delegated stuff with
yeah.
somebody else doing the sales, with you taking how many trips,
Vacations. Yeah. Honestly, it was a really interesting concept because December, January, February, March, I was focused on my kids, my self-care, my exercise, my travels, my partner, my certification course. And this first quarter, blew last year out of the water. And in 1 month, I did more than I did in an entire quarter last year in the and like you said to me, if you knew at the beginning of the month that you were going to do this, would you have stressed about it so much and let it steal so much of your time and energy and worry? And I'd be like, no. So now we're approaching April the same way and just trusting that it's all going to work out. And yeah, I'm doing the right things. I've set up the right things. I've got great people and I'm, getting more visibility, exposure. And yeah, it's only one way from here. And I'm excited to see the growth. So
some clients we've got, their goals are specifically around business and strategies there and offers, marketing, getting those foundational things in place over there.
Mhm.
Yours has been about not being busy, right? About letting go of all of the things.
Mhm.
And I'm the same way. It is a continuous work in process, and it's just something we're probably all going to work on our whole lives. But you did that, and then to do 4 times the amount compared to last year when you also were not in fully in all of the sales process. You're just to me is
Great.
this is exactly what it is, right? This is what it's all about.
It's a cool place to be at because when you're telling me, okay, what are your goals? And I'm like, spend more time with my kids this week and, exercise every day and make sure, it's more self goals than it is business goals. And that's weird because I almost have to think, okay, what do I want to do in the business? Whereas 2, 3, 4 years ago, it's been all business, business, business. And so I think that's where, getting to a point as a CEO where you can actually start being more visionary rather than, constantly in the weeds. That's a really exciting place to be.
Mhm. Well, I think your energy is different, even though you're not the one talking to all of the clients, doing all the assessments. Your energy will flow through your marketing because you're
Mhm.
more visible on social media. It'll flow through in podcast interviews that you do. It'll trickle down to your team and impact the way that they show up. And so I think maintaining your energy instead of having that, stressed, busy, go, go, go energy, being really embodying the type of leader that you want to be and to be the way that you want other people to be, I think is really what we work towards, right? So I always say, right, your time needs to be focused on your strategy, your team leadership, your sales. And I don't mean making assessment calls. I mean the overall, are sales happening? Are we making sales? The visibility
Yeah.
and your self-care and everything outside of that, we can pretty much delegate. And I feel like you've pretty much delegated a lot of it, right?
Mhm.
Almost everything. So, and here you are.
It's super exciting. I definitely see a couple things on my list that I need to make sure I'm consistently letting go of and not, grabbing back. But like you said, that busyness and that involvement is often tied to like our worth. I'm worth something. I have value. I contribute, but there's other things that I can contribute to now. And you have a bigger vision and a bigger plan, and you're that kind of a person that can reach more people. It's important to get out of those weeds. So
Yes. What do you think is next?
So for sure, I graduate in June from this certification course, and I am really excited to launch that page on my website and really start utilizing those in my workshops and in my coaching, and teaching my team some of this stuff. And it's potential that I could, go to master practitioner, go to trainer, so that I can train my team to do the same kind of stuff. But that's kind of going to be my focus for the next little while, is developing that side arm of my business and seeing it just help people on a deeper level for sure.
Yeah.
I would love to be paid to travel to speak. It would be amazing to be like, here's money for your plane and your hotel and you come speak at our conference, because I don't know any other organizers that have this kind of training that are utilizing it. So I'm excited to kind of set myself apart here and make a name for myself. And Rose City organizing is amazing, but yeah, I want to see a bit of a different vibe for the next 5 years here.
Yeah. So, maintaining what you got going over there,
Mhm.
continuing to let it grow, but you're not in the day to day. You're truly being the CEO, and you can spend your time building out your coaching and speaking. So, if anybody's listening who's hosting a conference, who you want to have, a speaker come in, talk about, organizing and all of the mindset and stories that you tell yourself about why you need all your clutter and everything else that you can talk about, Krista is your girl. So, yeah, no, I mean, I think it's amazing. I think that I really do love that you are able to do some of these other things, like doing the pro bono type work, and like you said, being able to keep your team employed. That's one of my favorite things about having a team, is
Mhm.
thinking about how many do we have? We've got like 9, I can't remember how many.
Wow.
But, like, the idea that you're impacting 20 families because 'cause you've got 20 women that work with you, right? Like,
Yeah.
that is insane, and it all came from your brain.
Yeah, it's nuts to have built something from scratch completely. Yeah, it just blows my mind. And that people are constantly reaching out to me, being like, can I work with you? Can I work with you? I love your vibe. I love your website. I love your team. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like, couldn't even have imagined it. Yeah.
Okay, do you have any parting words of wisdom? Like, if you have one piece of advice for anybody listening, what would you tell them?
Your business can be bigger than you ever dreamed, but you do need to delegate and let go of the reins and get out of the weeds and allow yourself to be a leader, be a visionary, be a boss, because you don't want to just create another job for yourself. You want to create freedom for yourself, not only with financials, but with time and energy. So, yeah, there are really a lot of ways that you can give yourself those, but a lot of it is letting go of the little stuff.
Yeah, letting go and trusting that it's gonna work out, and if anything does come up, you're gonna deal with it, and it's gonna be okay.
And there's always somebody that can help you, business coach or a mentor or a therapist. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you're struggling.
Yeah, it's true. Like, it's really important, like I said, to have people who understand what you're going, 'cause my husband doesn't. I love my husband. He doesn't get it, right? My family has no idea. They just think I do tax returns all the time and ask me tax questions. Like, it's important to get support, and I think the expansion piece is important. Like, finding people who will push you a little bit
Mhm.
is also really great. So, how can we find you? How can people work with you?
My website is rosecityprofessionalorganizing.com. And there's information there about our services. I have a DIY workbook you can purchase. I have business coaching, and I have speaking and workshops, either virtual or in person. And I am willing to travel. So, and then also I think it's good to find me on Instagram. Handle is Rose City Organizing. All of our before and afters are on there. All of my video and radio, TV appearances are on there, and you can get some great tips and connect with me on there.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Well, I so appreciate you coming on and being open about some of these things that I know were struggles, but I am 100% positive that I know there's people listening who needed to hear what you got to say. So I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for everything and coaching and support. You've been amazing.
Thank you. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll see you back next week.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. Listening and learning is great, but implementing what you learned is even better. So what's one thing you can do this week to make more money in your business, save for your financial future, and start living your most prosperous life? If you found this episode helpful, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and share with a friend because it helps me reach more amazing female entrepreneurs like yourself. See you in next week's episode.